supporting the American Labor Museum. My name is Angelica Santamaro, and I'm the director of the museum, and it's just a joy to stand here and look at all of your beautiful faces. Thank you very, very much for coming. Tonight, we are so happy to be honoring such distinguished labor leaders. Christian Smalls, the president of the Amazon Labor Union. Alvina Ye, president of the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance. Becky Sauerbrunn, the president of the United States Women's National Team Players Association. Robert Spear, president of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And some chick who claims she's the director of the American Labor Museum. I'd like to invite my grandchildren, William and Sophia Santamaro, who will be coming up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Star-Spangled Banner. Office of Professional Employees International Union and the President of the American Labor Museum.
Thank you, Angelica, and good evening again to everyone. And I too want to join Angelica in welcoming you all here tonight and for participating in this wonderful, wonderful event. I also want to thank the people who are not here, for those who have taken ads and have made contributions in support of the museum. You know, the museum will be celebrating soon, next couple of months, its 40th anniversary. It's hard to believe that so much time has gone by, but 40, Angelica and I were around it. But the 40 years have gone by, and we will be celebrating that in 2023. The museum is dedicated to teaching the public about the history of the labor movement and contemporary issues as well, issues of the workplace, and of course, organized labor in general. Beginning with the silk strike in Patterson in 1913, all the way up to the Amazon strike in 2020, Amazon organization. They're not on strike yet. Maybe later, I don't know. Up to the Amazon workers organizing, a real first in the United States, and he should be congratulated. So the Bonner House continues its work in educating. We have a museum in a suitcase where it travels around, where we have all the props and everything to teach the kids the right thing. And so I'm very proud of all of the honorees tonight. Angelica has already named them, and we look forward to having a great evening paying tribute to people who are truly making history. And in addition to Christian and to Robin, I'm very pleased tonight, especially for the honor going to be granted to Angelica Santamaro as the director. 30 years of service today. She's been the most wonderful director we could possibly imagine, and I'm sure that Evelyn will have more to say about that when she introduces Angelica later. So everyone had a great time tonight. I hope you enjoyed the food that was provided by this wonderful house here at the Tides, and we look forward to having a great evening. Thank you all very much.
And there will be more dessert and everything later as soon as we finish with the awards ceremony. I'd like to now invite Jacob Nardone from the Amazon Labor Union and Company.
How y'all doing? If you had told me 2 years ago that I would be introducing my boss at any kind of ceremony, I would have looked at you like you were crazy. I would have been even more surprised if you told me that it was a man who led the walkout that inspired me to organize at my workplace. Chris has been a huge inspiration for myself and so many others, which I've seen firsthand as we toured around and seen colleges, talked to many unions. It's a different type of energy that he brings to the labor movement, and I think that we're all better for it. And I would like to introduce his mother, who has a few words to say as well.
I just wanted to say that I know it's hard to grasp the new labor movement. You know, he come as is, they come as is, and it's a new time, new generation, new energy, like you said. And what they did, you know, they made history. Sometimes when you're up against a giant, you find a way to make it work. And that's what him and his team did. Him, Derek, Gerald, Jordan, they stood up for something that was right, and it worked. So I think that you put the work in, things change. And everybody should think, you know, take that home with them. I just want to say, as growing up, Christian always stood out to me. I knew he was going to be something. I just didn't know what God was going to use his voice for. When he was in 5th grade, he remembered the Martin Luther King speech, so he got the part. But I'm just saying, like, he always just stood out. When he'll be the first one to walk in the room with a pink outfit, like in 7th grade. So he's just, you know, different, and he's always been different, but he's authentic, and he has a genuine heart, and I think that people grasp to that. And this movement is bigger, and it's like he always said, this is just the beginning. It's a lot of work to be done, and I believe that him and his team will do it.
And P.S. he was born on the 4th of July. Come on up. Solid Stetin Award presented to Christian Smalls by the American Labor Museum of the House National Landmark, November 16, 2022, for his notable contributions which have improved the lives of working people, and for his tireless dedication to just policy
Y'all can stay standing, hold on. We labor. No, we used to this. Look to your left, look to your right, and say, I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. That's what we do here. We stand in solidarity with one another. And it wouldn't feel right for me to accept this award without introducing my brothers that were there with me on day one, the co-founders of the Amazon Labor Union, the actual Amazon workers of JFK, Derek Palmer, Gerald Bryson, Jordan Flowers. Yeah, thank you. Like my assistant, Jacob said, if you had asked me 2.5 years ago, would I be standing here in front of you all as a union president, I looked at you like you had 10 heads. But, you know, what happened to me in my journey, Amazon, obviously, you know the story. I was fired. Jeff Bezos, who was making $13 billion a day, the richest man in the world, had a smear campaign about me, calling me not smart or articulate. He also said to make me the face of the whole unionizing efforts against Amazon. I said that's a good idea. So me and my brothers here, we traveled the country for a year with our organization, the Congress of Essential Workers. This was before ALU even existed. We went to every mansion that we can Google, from New York to Beverly Hills. And we came back a year later, and we founded the Amazon Labor Union on April 20th, 4/20, 2021. And I spent over 300 days at a bus stop. We campaigned for 11 months. And I was arrested along with other workers. They spent $4.3 million trying to stop us. But basically what I'm trying to say is that no amount of money in the world that Amazon has, or any industry has, can stop the power of people when they come together. So, that being said, since everybody here is labor, the real stuff is happening now. We have a small window of opportunity. 2024 is around the corner. And I can tell you now, all the great work that we're doing is just the beginning, but yes, it's a time limit on it. And we need everybody a part of our community, everybody that's a part of labor, that's a part of the working class, which includes everybody, to be involved in this fight. It's not just the Amazon Labor Union, this is all of our fights. They paid Jeff Bezos $10 billion to ride his penis rocket to space. That was your tax dollars as well. So remind yourselves that you guys have to stand up and show up when we ask for it. And there's going to be a lot of actions coming up in the future. We want you to stay involved and please support us on the ground. We're going to be organizing in New Jersey. New Jersey is my home state. And there will be some great things to come. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for honoring me tonight and all the great honorees. It's a pleasure to be here, a pleasure to be home in New Jersey. And once again, power to the people, y'all.
Yeah!
Thank you so much, Christian. Alvina Ye is the executive director of Apala, and unfortunately she had a conflict and could not be here in person. It was their annual convention. She said she really tried to get someone to replace her but could not. But she sent us her acceptance remarks. So, should we lower the lights a little or leave the lights as is? Anyway, your attention to the screen. You may want to move your seats if you can't see. There's plenty of room here. And so.
Good evening, distinguished Gala guests. My name is Alvina Ye, and I'm proud to serve as the Executive Director of the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance, or APALA as we like to call it. I use she/her pronouns, and I'm sending you well wishes from Washington, D.C. on the traditional territory of the Piscataway people. Congratulations to the American Labor Museum on 40 years of advancing the public's understanding of the history of workers and the labor movement. Your mission is so critical, and I'm excited to see what the next 40 years will bring. I want to thank you for honoring me tonight at the Seoul Stetin Labor Awards. I'm very grateful for this honor, and I'm humbled to accept this award on behalf of Apollo members and chapters across the country. I also want to extend my congratulations to my fellow award recipients, Chris Smalls with the Amazon Labor Union, Becky Sauerbrunn with the U.S. Women's National Team Players Association, Angelica Santomaro with the American Labor Museum and New Jersey Education Association, and Robert Spear with IBEW Local 827. My fellow honorees are the ones that are blazing a trail for workers' rights and redefining what it means to organize. The award I accept tonight really belongs to our members, rank and file union members, unorganized workers, and leaders across the country who continue to fight for a more equitable society. 30 years ago, Apollo's founding members looked around and found that the labor movement was silent on issues that impacted Asian American and Pacific Islander AAPI working people. AAPI working people felt marginalized and ignored, and it is in that gap that our founders decided to create the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance, and we're proud to be one of 7 constituency groups under the umbrella of the AFL-CIO. Our members build power for working people through grassroots campaigns to fight for workers' rights, immigrant justice, racial justice, and electoral justice. And as a part of that power-building strategy, we find it important to center our work with our most marginalized members and to make sure that our work is in partnership with other Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. The mission of Apollo is deeply personal to me. I'm the daughter of 2 refugees from Vietnam who came to the US and had to find ways to learn English and make a living. My mom lucked out in that she found a good union job, sorting mail at the local post office. And it was that job that offered my family good benefits, a strong pension, and economic stability. And I know that all of that was an anomaly for a refugee family back then, and is even rarer now. I can't tell you how much our mission has felt all the more critical these past few years during the pandemic. Many of our members were among the 2 million AAPIs classified as essential workers. They suffered, like many other communities of color, the disproportionate economic and health impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. For example, while only 4% of registered nurses are Filipino, they represent 30% of deaths due to COVID. All at a time where xenophobic rhetoric from politicians have created an atmosphere where anti-Asian violence and hate speech is at an all-time high. But in spite of everything, what inspires me to show up to work every single day is knowing that our struggle is a shared one. Our movement is one that cross-cuts with the fight to protect undocumented workers and migrants at the border, to fight against police brutality targeting Black and brown communities, to amplify and honor indigeneity, to protect our lands against climate change, to challenge sexism, homophobia, and ableism. And we know that we cannot fight for workers' rights without acknowledging workers as whole people that are fighting for safety and dignity beyond the workplace. What inspires me is seeing young people, women, queer, non-binary, trans, immigrant, people of color at the forefront of labor organizing. Our communities have long been most impacted by injustice and therefore have the most to gain. And we know that we cannot achieve economic justice without racial justice. At our founding convention, Apollo members marched for justice after the unjust Rodney King verdict. Many people question the action as neither AAPI or worker-focused, but at Apollo, we're proud of our deep roots of solidarity and resistance because we know that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And Apollo will keep fighting for all communities under oppression. Join our fight and become a member at www.apollo.org. Thank you again to the American Labor Museum for honoring Apollo, and here's to many more years of organizing. Together, let's write a new chapter of labor history, here and now.
Wonderful organization. Our next honoree is Becky Sauerbrunn, the president of the Women's National Team Players Association. But I have to tell you her story. She was in New York, she was planning to come, and her partner gave her a surprise trip to Europe. So it's either, do I cross the Hudson River or do I cross the Atlantic Ocean? Guess which one she chose. So I think she still deserves a round of applause because she got pay parity for women's soccer players, and it was not an easy journey. So let's give her a nice round of applause for her accomplishment this past year. Brava, Becky. Our next Stetin recipient is here in person, I'm happy to say. And not only is he here, but he brought over 50 guests with him. I think he broke a record. I'd like you to please welcome the American Labor Museum's second vice president, who is also the president of the Passaic County Central Labor Council, and the business agent for IBEW Local 827, he wears a lot of hats, man. Tom Kelly, who's going to introduce our next honoree.
Well, yeah, that's close. I want to thank Angelica. I want to congratulate all the honorees. Hey, we got your back. I want to congratulate all the honorees. I want to thank Angelica and congratulate her. Listen, the Labor Museum is our facility. It's our shrine. It's our mecca to workers' rights in this country. And Angelica's kept it going for 30 years and it's prospered. And you know what? If you haven't been there, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Because it'll literally bring you to tears when you go in there. And if you start seeing Angelica give the tour multiple times, every time I go, I love it more, I learn more, and it moves me to tears. So if you haven't gone there, put it on your calendar, right? Unless you're going to Europe. Whatever, get by. But if you ain't going to Europe, be in Hamilton at the Labor Museum. Tonight I have the distinct pleasure and great honor of introducing one of the greatest, most unassuming labor leaders in New Jersey, Bob Spear. Do I need this? Bob is a 40-plus year member of Local 827, one of the largest IBEW locals in the nation, and was elected as business manager in 2013. Since then, he has ran unopposed twice, retaining that position until today. In many unions, Bob's 10 years at the helm wouldn't seem like a huge accomplishment. But just to give you some context about Local 827, the 10 years prior to Bob, we had 3 president business managers. The 20 years prior to Bob, we had 7 president business managers. Bob's done that job, and the reason our union is successful is because of the stability we've had with Bob Spear. What I'm telling you is, a one-year term as a president in our local is like dog years in other locals. It's like 7 to 1. Prior to being elected business manager, Bob served as a business agent, chairman of our safety committee, chairman of our executive board, vice president, and a myriad of other positions within Local 827 and outside of it. During his time as business manager, he's dramatically reduced expenses while tripling the assets of our locals to the highest level they've ever been in our 65-year history. While doing that, he also oversaw the building of a true voluntary contribution code from non-existent to now a financial stable entity. Besides the financial stability he brought to Local 827 in 2013, he has restored a pride and energy to its 3,500 plus members. Bob successfully led our membership to a 49-day strike against Verizon, one of the largest corporations in the world. We're a little behind Amazon, but we're up there. The corporation that during the strike mailed first-class letters to every one of our members telling them how to resign from the union and desert and come back to work. A corporation that took away all the benefits of our members and their families during that strike. And you know what? Bob held us together through the whole 49 days. A company that through that strike got none of their final offer demands. None. Zero. Nada. All you 827 people give it up because they got nothing from it. ravaged by the strike, we came out stronger and more unified than ever before. That victory is considered by pundits to be one of the biggest labor victories of the 21st century, until Chris came along. Since then, he's negotiated multiple contract extensions with Verizon, extending until 2026, securing 5G and pole replacement work that is contracted out in other Verizon properties, thus providing stability and good union jobs here in New Jersey into the future. Under his leadership, Local 827 has also worked to stabilize and raise the rest of our industry by organizing and successfully negotiating first contracts with 3 separate Altice properties here in New Jersey, leading other Altice properties around the nation to become unionized. Bob led us through a worldwide pandemic, negotiating leaves of absence for first responders, military personnel, members with COVID, and many more agreements, including home garaging and work from home, all without having one single member lose their job over vaccination status. Politically, Bob pushed through a bill protecting striking workers by providing unemployment benefits to them as a safety net when they're on strike. Where's Doris Gala? Where's T? Janessa? They want strike. He also pushed through a bill that keeps jobs here in New Jersey by establishing call center answering job requirements and a workers' compensation job protection bill to provide recall rights for members terminated for a workers' compensation injury. These bills help union workers and all working people here in New Jersey. And there's one thing about Bob, and if you know him, you know he cares about all working people. His record for what he's done for union people is easy. When you go to headquarters, I could rattle off a million things. I'm going to tell you a couple stories about Bob and I. We go out at night, his wife calls it Gala when we go to these fundraisers. So Bob's always early. If you know Bob, he's up at like 3:30 in the morning. So he's always early. So I'm waiting at the fundraiser and I go in and I can't find Bob. I'm looking all over the place, I can't find Bob. So I said to the bartender, hey, you see a guy with a shaved head, drinking Hendrix and tonic and 2 double limes? He goes, oh. He goes, I'm working the bar by myself. I ran out of wine. He goes, that guy ran to the other building into the basement and is carrying wine up for me so we can serve the thing. That's Bob. You know what I mean? Like, Bob wasn't like, well, I paid $2,000 to come to the state. Bob's like, hey, we need wine? Fuck it, I'll go get the wine. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? And that's Bob. Another time we're at the Brownstone. Party's over, we're leaving. I'm 58 years old, so before I go someplace, I gotta go to the bathroom. Listen, I'm in the Brownstone, I'm not gonna lie. I gotta go to the bathroom, make sure I'm gonna make it home. I come out of the bathroom, there's Bob with his sleeves rolled up and his jacket off, and he's taking the garbage bags out of the garbage cans. I go, Bob, what are you doing? He goes, these people can't go home till all this gets done. So me and you take all this and carry it out to the dumpsters, we're going to our cars, they'll get home earlier tonight. That's fucking Bob, you know? The highest compliment Bob can pay somebody is when he says you're a regular guy. I've met congressmen with Bob, senators, governors, and if he thinks you're a genuine person, he always says that, hey, he's a regular guy. He doesn't want anyone to be aspirational, and that's all Bob wants to be, is a regular guy. At the end of the day, he's done all these things, helped all these people, and he just wants to be known as a regular guy. But you, my friend, are the farthest thing from a regular guy. You're not a regular guy, and that's why we all love you. The second thing about Bob, and then I'll finish up, is he's very uncomfortable about being recognized. As you can see, he's like crawling into his chair. Quick story. The morning Angelica's calling him to be honored here, she calls me for his number. So I give her the number. I'm sitting there by my phone at my desk, going, Angelica's going to call me back, Bob's going to call me back, all excited that he's being honored. She calls me back a half hour later, she goes, he said no. What do you mean he said no? She goes, he said no, he's got a meeting with the guy from the company about maybe getting a job, so he can't make it. I go, what? So I call Bob, and I said, what are you doing? The American Labor Museum wants to honor you. He goes, well, me, and he names the 2 guys he's meeting. I text these 2 guys in the one phone, Bob saying, meeting canceled, meeting's done, no one meeting on the record. Bob called me back half hour later, you got me, I'll be there. But this is the last thing Bob wants. So everything he's done, the last thing he wants to do is be up here and being recognized. So, without further ado, Our president, business manager of Local 27, one of the nicest, most selfless people you ever meet, and my friend and our friend, Bob Stetin. Hey, if you can find one thing in life that'll move you that emotionally, then you found what you're supposed to be doing. And you guys have found it, and we've all found it. And like I said, I tell my kids, if you find something that'll move you to tears when you're talking about it, you found what you should be doing.
Thank you so much, Rob. Evelyn Hershey is the museum's dedicated education director, and I understand that she has a few words to say right now. And Evelyn? Oh. Yeah.
It is my honor and pleasure to introduce Sol Stetin Award recipient Angelica Santamaro, who is being recognized tonight for her 30 years of leadership as director of the American Labor Museum. In the 1980s, as an active NJEA member and as an extraordinary too, Jersey City public school teacher, Angelica took her students on a field trip to the museum to learn firsthand about working conditions and labor struggles in Paterson, New Jersey's silk mills. Teacher and students met and conversed with a retired immigrant worker. The students listened as the former silk worker talked about, quote, how we had great pride in our craft, unquote, and, quote, how we were determined not to get pushed around by the bosses, unquote, and, quote, how we were from different countries, but we fought side by side for a better life, unquote, and about, quote, how important our families are to us, and, quote, that we had a family too in our unions, unquote. It was a story, a history, the people's history, not found in school textbooks. It was a story to which Angelica's beautiful class of multicultural working class students could relate. The stories of workers building their unions and using their collective voices to bring about positive changes in their communities, in the nation, and the world not only enlightens students, it enables them to become successful workers and active union members in the future. Not long after that field trip, Angelica became a museum trustee. In 1992, she became its director, and the museum's mission became educating the general public about the history of work, workers, and the labor movement throughout the world, with special attention to the ethnicity and immigrant experience of American workers. In his memoir, Angelica's father, Anthony Santamaro, wrote, "This beautiful Angelica always does what is right." He also wrote that Angelica is instrumental, an important word, instrumental in giving her time to the museum to keep alive the struggles of the workers. Angelica Santamaro's vision of the museum as labor's schoolhouse is instrumental in making each of the museum's learning and cultural experiences available to all. Indeed, as you visit the museum's period rooms, changing exhibits, old world gardens, free lending library and museum store, or sing along at the annual May Day Festival, march in the annual Labor Day Parade, listen to a lecture or book talk, and attend a film screening, or as your child, elementary age to college age or union apprentice, tours the museum with their class, participates in a distance learning class, sets up a museum in a suitcase portable exhibit in their classroom, enrolls in a Saturday labor arts class, or works on a labor studies internship project. It is truly Angelica's vision, energy, and creativity that makes it all possible. So at this time, it is my great honor and pleasure to invite Angelica to the podium to receive the Sol Stetin Award. Dr. Angelica.
wow. Like you, Bob, I had to write this down because I didn't think I was going to get emotional, but it does happen, doesn't it? Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay.
Over 30 years ago, when teaching labor studies in the Jersey City Public Schools, the students took it upon themselves to organize a student union. They wrote up proposals and they negotiated a contract with the teachers and administrators. It became so apparent to all of us that labor studies was the key to empowerment. This, my brothers and sisters, is what education is all about. Educate, enlighten, and empower. This, my brothers and sisters, is what the American Labor Museum is all about, thus earning the title Labor's Schoolhouse. Tonight, we have the privilege of listening to our inspiring honorees and learning about how much could be accomplished with an educated, enlightened, and empowered team. Brothers and sisters, it is only because of the hard-working, dedicated team of trustees, staff, volunteers, and members at the American Labor Museum. It's only because of this team that we have accomplished so much during the past 3 decades. So please allow me to show you what we have done and continue to do together. The American Labor Museum was housed in the 1908 Bauhaus National Landmark. The house was built by Italian immigrants and silkworm workers Pietro and Maria Bacco. From the balcony of the Bauhaus in 1913, labor union organizers of the industrial workers of the world addressed as many as 20,000 silkworm workers who were on strike for an 8-hour workday. Because it served as a haven for free speech and assembly for these laborers, the Bauhaus became a national landmark. In 1983, it opened as a museum dedicated to teaching the public about the contributions of working people and immigrants around the world.
Like a baby do the work.
marching in the beauty of the day. Our million darkened kitchens, our thousand millbox gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, marching, we bow
I just turned to my son and I said, Bill, I've got the best job in the world because I love every single one of you. You are my heroes. Thank you very, very much. While Bennett Zarofsky is making his way up, can I just introduce my family? Thanks. Tables 15, 16, and 17, please stand. My family, my friends, I love you. My girlfriend who all the way in from Florida for this, and her husband Greg. I love you guys. My neighbors, my friends, my family. Thank you. Okay, and now we're going to join in and we're going to sing Solidarity Forever. There are yellow sheets on your table with the words, and there's also a beautiful poem that our dear friend Jen Ehrentraut wrote. We didn't have time to read it this evening, but please be sure to read it. She put a lot of time and effort into it. So everyone, kindly stand, hold hands, you know you gotta hold hands, and let's break out the song, Solidarity Forever, where the union makes us strong. Patrons, sponsors, IBEW Local 827 of ATU, New Jersey State Council, Utility Workers Local 601, thank you for being